But how do we become advocates for populations in what we can do? Whether it be service providers, whether it be policy makers, how can we do that right thing that is the very promise of what sexual and reproductive health and HIV integration said it would be? There's an award that was created in David's name, the David Cater Vision and Voice Award. It's in its second year. It was done through his family, and this year it was awarded to a Jamaican lawyer. I think Jamaica is one of the highest, most homophobic countries in the world. So, where does that all take us? And I put up in 2 slides around the gear shift. And I think that's what's needed. I think in integration, we need to keep doing what we've heard about, what we're saying, but we also need to, in parallel, have another gear shift in terms of how do we make sure that that promise of integration and reaching out to the populations that we've seen the numbers for are in fact met. And I think there's 3 ways or 4 ways we could do that. 1, we need increased policy action. That's the domain we work on. Secondly, I think in our own worlds, we can all become champions. So therefore, it's not somebody else's responsibility, it's our collective responsibility. In terms of providing integrated services, one of the promises of integration was it said it would reduce stigma and discrimination. And the premise on which that was based was to say, well then if you're HIV positive, you can go to a clinic, nobody would know your status, you can access services, whether it's STI services or HIV services or family planning services, nobody would know why you're going to that clinic. How much more so then for these populations if we could say people could come in and they could get the services they need without any specialization. And the last one is there's a lot of untapped potential. That I think this idea of donor integration, we all talk about integration of services, but perhaps one of the big missing blocks, as we saw yesterday, that even donors have cherry-picking approaches. And maybe we need to start facilitating and having that conversation about increased donor integration. And the last slide is, well, what are some of the research questions that potentially, in terms of key populations, we should potentially look at? And I put up 4 for your consideration. That potentially we could say, if we can provide integrated service provision, can it act as a modality of stigma reduction? Can it or can it not? The second one was saying, how can we make sure that the uptake of both services for these populations, so that they're not just seen as people for whom we need to give HIV services? The third one is, if we say that health is attainable and a right for all, how can we make that a reality? And the last one was around bridging populations. And what would be the impact, for example, of investing in bridging populations and making sure that the prevalence rates among these populations go down? Because surely then, if they are so-called bridging populations, it would have a knock-on effect to the general population that is often the focus of current integration and initiatives. Thank you.